Good morning, kids. Just a little noodling there. Um, all over the place. I have no idea what I'm doing. So just, anyway, hey, thanks for showing up, guys. It is, just coming up on 7 o'clock here on the West Coast. Early Sunday morning. And again, thanks for coming, guys. I saw Winston show up very early this morning. Thank you so much for that. Billingtano. Hey, Trey Clark, how are you, man? Kevlar. Billingtano. Joe Ray, hey. Hopefully we'll get something worked out musically, Joe. Joe, for those of you who don't know, Joe Ray is a longtime friend of mine. We've known each other since, oh God, like in the 70s, literally, like 77, something like that, 78 maybe. And we wrote a bunch of songs together. Some of them were actually pretty good. No, really. We wrote over 100 songs between the 1980s and mid 90s, late 90s. And well, we had a thing going for a while, but some other things happened, and we didn't get to do that for a while. So we're going to go back and revisit those, hopefully. And anyway, so there's that. So hopefully, Joe, will get a chance to take a look at that and get some things going. So Nicholas Brown, welcome. Let's see here. Who else has got dropping in? People not talking. Stubble nuts. I like it. Gotta keep that thing clean, man. All right. So, Allison, I got your email, and I'm definitely going to get you a sticker out if you guys want one. A sticker that says, I do not consent. Just send me an email. You'll find it in the show notes, as well as, well, you can just write it down now, unintended.consequences3@gmail.com. Send me an email with your mailing address, and I'll be happy. How much was a kid back then? I don't know. We weren't buying and selling kids. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, anyway, send me an email, and I will be happy to send you out an I do not consent sticker, so you can tell people F you. Alrighty then. Okay, so this morning, as usual, we're going to take a look at the book of Proverbs. And again, this is Proverbs is attributed to Solomon, who is the son of King David, ancient Israel king. And a lot of good stuff in here. And so the reason I do this is a lot of people said, hey, I've never really looked at the Bible, don't really know what's in there. Where do I start? And some people say start at the beginning, and that's what that is what we do in Sola Scriptura with Wayne McCroy. We'll be back this afternoon. How much was a lid back then? Oh, and that's a totally different thing. About $20. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Okay. Don't ask me how I know that. Anyway, but it was shit wheat, really. Stems and seeds and stuff. No. Okay. So yeah, we do Sola Scriptura Sunday evenings at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time. And Wayne McCroy joins me every other week for the full episode, and so he's back today. And so we'll be continuing in the book of Genesis. So Genesis is a good place to start if you want to know the history of things and how things got started. Some people say start at the Gospels. That'd be kind of starting at the book of Matthew, the New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, 4 different stories on the life of Jesus. That is also a great place to start if you're interested in that. But if you have doubts, or if you're uncertain about what's going on, or if you doubt even the legitimacy or value of Scripture, and if you've heard, as many people have, that it is just esoteric covering for different alchemical stuff, you could certainly I guess that's one take on it. But I think if you go and read some of the things, you can see it's just a lot of it's just history in the Old Testament. I think kind of difficult to really sit down and hide a bunch of stuff and just some of the strange history that's there. If you're looking for things to be weird, there's weirdness in there. There's no doubt. There's stories of people and what they did, and some people did some really pretty fucked up things, I'm telling you. Sorry if I offended anybody with my language, but still. So I always recommend, if you want to understand kind of what Scripture is about, at least from my perspective, there are 3 primary things. And that is, again, beginning in the book of Genesis, that is the history of how you got here and what's going on. And if you go to the Gospels, that gives you an understanding of how you can get out. And that's, again, my take on it. And if you look at Proverbs, it's wisdom. And these are the primary things. I find the whole thing to be sort of a love letter from the Creator, an open invitation to get to know them personally. The rest is added information. It's like icing on the cake, at least in terms of the way the way I look at it. Many people get really very serious about every single word. And I mean, I think every word in there is probably valuable. But one of the things that is most disappointing to me, and I mentioned this yesterday, and I have before, seeing people argue, they call themselves, Christians, And to me, again, the idea of having a religion based on a guy whose entire purpose was to destroy religion seems an odd thing indeed. But hey, guys, you don't need religion. Just get to know Dad personally. That sounds great. Let's make a religion of it. I'm like, what? Yeah. Anyway, but really, again, if I see people argue and with hatred over the meaning of things that is either very clear, right, and they have to twist themselves into making themselves believe it means something entirely different, or things that aren't clear and they absolutely claim that they know exactly what it means, and it's, I don't know, man. People are funny, but I tend to lean away from a belief system and much more toward a personal relationship. If you get to know the Creator personally, all of it seems to make much more sense. That's not only my experience, but the experience of others who I've read and talked to personally. And I think, again, it seems remarkable to have a direct relationship and experience with someone who, admittedly, mostly unseen. I have had experiences where that was not entirely the case. It was very frightening. But if you're dealing with let's say, an invisible sky daddy, as people like to say, I think it's pretty remarkable, though, that people throughout the ages can all describe very well the personality and character traits of this person. So that seems unusual. And also that this is an individual who is much, much smarter than am I, and is much better in every way, and has taught me the nature of what love is. And I think that is supernatural. I don't think that comes from inside or the ego. I mean, is God inside you? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He wants to dwell within us. Are you God? Maybe with a little g, right? He said, you are God's because he made you in his image. But are you the God of this world? No, I think that title was handed over to someone else who was our enemy. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into that. Just keep an open mind, I suppose, what I would say. And anyone who gets a firm beliefs without evidence of that, right? I mean, the number of people who say, "Oh, the Bible is just a book written by men." Where did you get that idea? From a book written by a guy? Okay. Hey, Mark. Oh, perfect. I got your message, Mark Bloom, and yeah, let's chat. I may have. I'll hook up with you today. Just a quick ping. I may not have a lot of time today, but I absolutely want to talk further about what you sent. That is it's really, really interesting stuff all around. Mark Bloom is the author of what Red Fox and I did the transposition, and some fascinating thought experiments that he's provided on numerous occasions. And so, anyway, if you have stuff like that and you want to send along, feel free to do that. But again, thank you. All right, so let's dig in here. I got my delicious coffee. Damn, that's good. All right. Let us begin today. So one of the reasons I say start in the book of Proverbs, a couple of things here. The first is that Proverbs, being kind of the middle of the Bible in terms of space, it's a good place to start, but it's also, again, full of wisdom. So if you have no idea what's going on, and you just take a look at this in terms of what it has to say and the perspective that it provides, I think it would be difficult to admit that it's not, hey, Sue, welcome, that it is not full of ancient wisdom for the modern world or the ancient world as well. I think it's pretty obvious. So there are 31 books or rather 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs, and so one per day, right? If you just take one every day and read that according to the day of the month that it is, you can get through it pretty quickly. And my encouragement to people is do it 3 times, right? So for 3 months, read the day every day, first thing in the morning. read what Proverbs has to say for that day. It is not really like a devotional. There are books that do that, and some of them are really good. But this is just, again, it's just a way to kind of keep on track, and so you know where you're at. So today is the second day of August here in the U.S., but I'll go through Proverbs 1 and 2 because I think Proverbs 1 is it's a great beginning. So we'll do Proverbs 1 and 2 today for your edification and my own. So we'll begin here. And what I'm showing you here, this is the Apostolic Bible Polyglot. So basically this is translated from the Septuagint, a Greek translation. And you can see both the English here as well as these are Strong's Concordance numbers. And when you click on those, you see that they light up. That is the number that's been assigned to each one of those words and where you can see that word appear within Scripture and how it was translated in each one, because there are sometimes, different words are translated different ways based on, cultural, historical, linguistic determination. There are idioms that we wouldn't quite understand. So, Winston, you're awesome. All right, so we'll take a look here. We're going to begin, and the reason I chose this morning, and we'll look at some other versions as well, but the reason I chose this is you can have a glimpse at, this is kind of the way it originally lines up, and you can kind of understand how a transliteration differs from a translation, differs from a paraphrase. And we'll take a look at a couple of different versions of this morning. So beginning in Proverbs 1, wisdom. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, who reigned in Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to comprehend also words of intelligence, to receive also the shifting and turning of words, and loosening enigmas, to comprehend also righteousness and truth, and judgment, to straighten out your ways, that he should give to the guileless astuteness, to the children, to the young, perception, and also reflection. But of the ones for hearing, the wise will be wiser, and the intelligent shall acquire guidance. He shall comprehend also a parable and a dark matter, sayings of the wise and enigmas. The beginning of wisdom is fear of the Lord, and understanding is good to all the ones observing it. And piety to God is the beginning of perception. But wisdom and instruction to the impious they will treat with contempt. Hear, O son, the laws of your father, and you should not thrust away the rules of your mother. A crown for favors you will receive for your head, and a collar of gold around your neck. O son, you should not have cause to wander men who are impious, nor should you consent. If they should comfort you, saying, "Come with us, partake in blood, for we should hide in the ground." Man, the just unjustly. So we'll look at that a little bit closer. And we should swallow him as Hades while living, and lift his remembrance from the earth. The property of his very costly we should overtake, and we should fill houses of our own with the spoils. And your lot throw in with us. Come join us. And money bag one let there become for us. So we'll split all that. Again, we'll take a closer look. You should go not in the ways with them. Turn aside your foot from their paths. For their feet to evil do run, and are quick to pour out blood. For are not wrongfully stretched out the nets for feathered birds? For they are the ones in murder partaking. Treasure up for themselves evil. These the ways are of all the ones completing the lawless things. All right, so I understand that can be a little weird and backwards, so let's take a look then at the King James Version. This is the 1611 version. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment, and equity, to give subtly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. to understand a proverb and its interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace upon thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, Come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as does the grave, and whole as those who go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast thy lot among us, for we all have one purse. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain is the net spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of every one that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she utters her words, saying, How long, you simple ones, will you live simply? Will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scornings, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called, and you have refused, I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But you have set at naught all my counsel, and would have none of my reproof. I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock you when fear comes. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish comes upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they will not find me. For those that hate knowledge, and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they would none of my counsel. They despised all of my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearketh unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. I think it's worthy of note, in this last section, how I have called and you have refused, and I've stretched out my hand and no one regarded, and you have set at naught my counsel, and would have none of my reproof. And I will also laugh at your calamity, and mock when fear comes, and you will call to me, and I will not answer. One last turn in a different version. This is the Names of God Bible. Again, the Proverbs of Solomon, David's son, who was king of Israel. It is given to grasp wisdom and discipline, to understand deep thoughts, to acquire the discipline of wise behavior, righteousness and justice and fairness, to give insight to gullible people, to give knowledge and foresight to the young. A wise person will listen and continue to learn, and an understanding person will gain direction. To understand a proverb and a clever saying, to the words of the wise people and their riddles. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge. Stubborn fools despise wisdom and discipline. My son, listen to your father's discipline, and do not neglect your mother's teachings, because discipline and teachings are a graceful garland on your head and a golden chain around your neck. My son, if sinners lure you, do not go along. If they say, Come with us, let's set an ambush to kill someone. Let's hide to ambush innocent people for fun. We'll swallow them alive like the grave. Those in good health who go into the pit will find all kinds of valuable possessions. We'll fill our homes with stolen goods. Join us and we'll split the loot equally. My son, do not follow them in their way. Do not even set foot on their path, because they rush to do evil and hurry to shed blood. It does no good to spread a net within the sight of any bird. But these people set an ambush for their own murder. They go into hiding only to lose their lives. This is what happens to everyone who is greedy for unjust gain. Greed takes away his own life. Wisdom sings her songs in the streets. In the public square, she raises her voice. At the corners of noisy streets, she calls out. At the entrances to the city, she speaks her words. How long will you gullible people love being so gullible? How long will you mockers find joy in your mocking? How long will you fools hate knowledge? Do you not see this right now as you go out and see people in their masks who love, they virtue signal their gullibility and how proud they are that they follow every word of the mainstream media. I did what they told me. And when you invite them to look at information, they mock it. Where'd you get that? Yeah. Turn to me when I warn you. I will generously pour out my spirit for you. I will make my words known to you. This verse 23 is, I think, so important. There's another text that says, if anyone lacks wisdom, let them ask. It is my contention that the willing heart, Dad won't turn away. And so if you say, I don't understand, it's strange, it's weird, just ask for understanding. And I think he will be happy to give that to you. If you seek, you will find. I called and you refused to listen. I stretched out my hands to you and no one paid attention. You ignored all my advice. You did not want me to warn you. I will laugh at your calamity and I will make fun of you when panic strikes you. When panic strikes you like a violent storm. When calamity strikes you like a windstorm. When trouble and anguish come to you. They will call to me at that time, but I will not answer. They will look for me, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. They refused my advice. They despised my every warning. So they will eat the fruit of their lifestyle. They will be stuffed with their own schemes. Gullible people kill themselves because of their turning away. Fools destroy themselves because of their indifference. But whoever listens to me will live without worry and will be free from the dread of disaster. My son, if you take my words to heart and treasure my commands within you, if you pay close attention to wisdom and let your mind reach for understanding, if indeed you call out for insight, if you ask aloud for understanding, if you search for wisdom as if it were money and hunt for it as if it were hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of Yahweh and you will find the knowledge of Elohim. Yahweh gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He has reserved priceless wisdom for decent people. He is a Magen for those who walk in integrity, in order to guard against those on paths of justice, and to watch over the way of his godly ones. Then you will understand what is right and just and fair, every good course in life. Wisdom will come into your heart. Knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Foresight will protect you. Understanding will guard you. Wisdom will save you from the way of evil, from the person who speaks devious things, from those who abandon the paths of righteousness to walk the ways of darkness. For those who enjoy doing evil, from those who find joy in the deviousness of evil. Their paths are crooked, their ways are devious. I was just thinking about that this morning, about how there are those who seem to take delight in darkness. If you've ever seen kids, and I don't know what gets into them, right? But usually it's boys who are the kind who will, tear the wings off flies or tear the legs off spiders, and they delight in watching them suffer. I don't know. I can't get my head around it. But they grow up into adults, and many of them seem to be the ones who run this world. Wisdom will save you from the ways of evil, from the person who speaks devious things, for those who abandon the paths of righteousness to walk the ways of darkness, from those who enjoy doing evil, from those who find joy in the deviousness of evil. Their paths are crooked, their ways are devious. Wisdom will also save you from an adulterous woman, from a loose woman with her smooth talk who leaves her husband, the closest friend of her youth, and forgets her marriage vows to her Elohim. Her house sinks down to death. Her ways lead to the souls of the dead. None who have sex with her come back, nor do they ever reach the paths of life. So walk in the way of good people and stay on the paths of righteous people. Decent people will live in the land. People of integrity will remain in it. But wicked people will be cut off from the land, and treacherous people will be torn down from it. We'll do one more, and again, to give you an idea of the different ways that you can see this. We'll do this again, chapters 1 and 2, real quickly from the Message. And again, the Message is a modern paraphrase, so you'll see how it strays from the from the original language, and yet retains a sense of the artistry, and many times it well captures the thoughts. These are the wise sayings of Solomon, David's son, Israel's king, written down so we'll know how to live well, how to live right, to understand what life means and where it's going. A manual for living, to learn what's right and just and fair, to teach the inexperienced the ropes, and give our young people a grasp on reality. There's something here also for seasoned men and women, still a thing or two for the experienced to learn, fresh wisdom to probe and penetrate the rhymes and reasons of wise men and women. Start with God. The first step in learning is bowing down to God. Only fools thumb their noses at such wisdom and learning. Pay close attention, friend, to what your father tells you. Never forget what you learned at your mother's knee. Wear their counsel like flowers in your hair, like rings on your fingers. Dear friend, if bad companions tempt you, don't go along with them. If they say, let's go out and raise some hell, let's beat up some old man and mug some old woman, let's pick them clean and get them ready for their funerals, we'll load up on top quality loot and we'll haul it home by the truckload. Join us for the time of your life. With us, it's share and share alike. Oh, friend, don't give them a second look. Don't listen to them for a minute. They're racing to a very bad end, hurrying to ruin everything they lay their hands on. Nobody robs a bank with everyone watching, yet that's what these people are doing. They're doing themselves in. When you grab all you can get, that's what happens. The more you get, the less you are. Lady Wisdom goes out into the street and shouts. At this town center, she makes her speech. In the middle of traffic, she takes her stand. At the busiest corner, she calls out, simpletons, how long will you wallow in ignorance? Cynics, how long will you feed your cynicism? You idiots, how long will you refuse to learn? About face, I can revise your life. Look, I'm ready to pour out my spirit on you. I'm ready to tell you all I know. As it is, I've called out, but you've turned a deaf ear. And I've reached out to you, but you've ignored me. Since you laugh at my counsel and make a joke of my advice, how can I take you seriously? I'll turn the tables and joke about your troubles. What if the roof falls in and your whole life goes to pieces? What if catastrophe strikes and there's nothing to show for your life but rubble and ashes? You'll need me then. You'll call for me, but don't expect an answer. No matter how hard you look, you won't find me. Because you hated knowledge and had nothing to do with the fear of God. Because you wouldn't take my advice and brushed aside all my offers to train you. Well, now you've made your bed. Now lie in it. You wanted your own way. Now, how do you like it? Don't you see what happens, you simpletons, you idiots? Carelessness kills. Complacency is murder. First pay attention to me and then relax. Now you can take it easy. You're in good hands. I think in just this one chapter, if this were given to kids in school before they got sucked into gangs, right, which is this section here from 8 to 19, for those who think themselves wise, 25 to 33, it's a good lesson. Good friend, take to heart what I'm telling you. Collect my counsels and guard them with your life. Turn your ears to the world of wisdom and set your heart on a life of understanding. That's right, if you make insight your priority and won't take no for an answer, searching for it like a prospector panning for gold, like an adventurer on a treasure hunt. Believe me, before you know it, the fear of God will be yours, and you'll have come upon the knowledge of God. And here's why. God gives out wisdom for free. He's plain-spoken in knowledge and understanding. He's a rich mine of common sense for those who will live well, a personal bodyguard to the candid and sincere. He keeps his eye on all who live honestly and pays special attention to his loyally committed ones. So now you can pick out what's true and fair. Find all the good trails. Lady Wisdom will be your close friend and Brother Knowledge your pleasant companion. Good sense will scout ahead for danger. Insight will keep an eye out for you. They'll keep you from making wrong turns or following bad directions of those who are lost themselves and can't tell a trail from a tumbleweed. Those losers who make a game of evil and throw parties to celebrate perversity, traveling paths that go nowhere, wandering in a maze of detours and dead ends. Wise friends will rescue you from the temptress, that smooth-talking seductress, who's faithful or faithless to the husband she married years ago, never gave a second thought to her promises before God. Her whole way of life is doomed. Every step she takes brings her closer to hell. No one who joins her company ever comes back, ever sets foot on the path to real living. So, join the company of good men and women. Keep your feet on the tried and true paths. It's the men who walk straight who will settle this land, and the women with integrity who will last here. The corrupt will lose their lives. The dishonest will be gone for good. Again, I think if you contemplate on those, Mark, the simpletons, I think that's not too far from the truth, right? Interesting that you should mention that family taught most of America how to be dumb and how to revel in ignorance. It's remarkable. In just these first two chapters of Proverbs, especially if we consider the modern translation that I read from the Message, I think it should be abundantly clear of how well it's described the situation that we see around us for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, what you can see going on and how prescient these words are of what happens to those who revel and delight in mischief, and what happens instead to those who seek out wisdom and who are prudent in their ways. So I encourage everyone. Again, it's always kind of an awkward spot for me, right? Because I have sort of made it a point to not. I don't evangelize or try to convert or convince anyone of seeing things the way that I do. I have come to many of these thoughts over time. You know, they say that wisdom comes from good decisions, and good decisions come, from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. And that's certainly true for me. I made a number of, I would say, poor decisions earlier in my life. Some of them I knew what I was doing, and some of them I did not. But I did learn, right, from those mistakes, and ultimately came to a place of, I guess, reaping what I was sowing. Life became difficult, and largely because of mistakes that I had made myself. It wasn't anybody else's fault but my own. And the only way to change that was to, again, take on, to do different things. So I would say both effort on my own part, but largely in wisdom that was gained through the relationship with the Creator. That's what really made the difference. And the biggest part of that had to do primarily with fixing the problems in my own heart that my heart was damaged and wounded because of what I'd experienced in life, and that most of what I had become was poor coping mechanisms to keep from being wounded. And so I was pretty cool guy, very good at being bad. I had a very worldly life, and there were times in my life I really reveled in what I was doing. I lived in Los Angeles and very involved in the music industry and hung out with rock stars and famous people, and went to the Grammys and did a bunch of stuff that most people only dream about. But it was not fulfilling, and it came with all its own problems. And since that time, and since my life has taken a different turn, it is much more satisfying. Is it as exciting? Well, it's exciting, but in different ways. And it certainly is, again, from my perspective, far more fulfilling. And then as I get older, and I think this is common among people, most people, when you get older, you think less of what you have and more about what you can give. You come face to face with your own mortality. The longer you live, the more people you know are dead. And so you begin to think more about what do I leave behind, and what is the purpose here. And for me, I understood that I felt incomplete in that regard, that I had not truly given what I ought to in terms of sharing the things that I know with others. And so that is largely the purpose why I'm here, is to help share to those who want it, right, what I can offer, as well as helping develop the community relationship between you guys, because really I do this for you as a gift to you. This is some of the finest people, again, that regularly meet that I have ever met. And as Allison has said, and Winston, this is like a church to me, and not in a bad way, right? That we are the church. That's what Scripture says, that it's us. It's not a building, right? We're the body. And as we get together, that body becomes functional. And that is, again, what I see. And I strongly encourage at this point, and we see the way things are going, it would be it seems a prudent thing to start trying to get together. Physically, everyone seems to be very scattered about, and looking for ways to kind of get together, not just for meetups, but in a way that would allow us to take a little bit more control over our lives, at least in a temporary sense, at least for the time being. I don't want you to be alone. That's exactly right, Allison. Loneliness is deadly. And so I think that's just what I have for today. Not a long, drawn-out thing. Just share with you the first couple of chapters of Proverbs, and express for you my genuine affinity for those of you who show up, and again, restate the purpose of why I'm here, why I do this. It is for you. If you'd like, join me again this evening at 5 p.m. Pacific, that's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for Sola Scriptura, Episode 5. This will be with Wayne McCroy of Alchemical Tech Revolution. He'll be joining me again as we go a little bit deeper into the creation story and coming up to the flood now, the deluge, in the book of Genesis. So again, that's 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, right here on this channel. And we will get together and see you then. And thanks again for joining me this morning. As always, I am the Great Baldini. And if you want to reach me, simply just send me an email, unintended.consequences@gmail. Oh, unintended.consequences3, don't forget that, at gmail.com. I'll put it here in the chat. Hopefully I won't misspell it like I sometimes do, which creates problems. I type too fast and I miss something. Unintended. See, I did it again. I put a D instead of an S here. So unintended consequences, 3 at gmail.com. I think I got it. No, do I get consequences? No, consequences. Okay. It's too small for me to see. All right, guys. Yes, I agree. I need you guys in my life as well. I'm becoming quite content with spending time with you guys on the weekends. So until tonight, I will see you again soon. Thanks.